So we have a person that wants to pick a random chapter, a random verse of the Tehillim. And the question is, how do you get something that is random? So he wanted to use a dice, to roll a dice, and whatever comes with the dice, that will be the random decision, how to figure out from there which Tehillim, which verse. Okay, that's another thing. So then the question comes up, is it allowed to use a dice for picking a random verse of the Tehillim or something like that? So what is the problem of rolling a dice? We have halacha in halachot of Chosh and Mishpat of what makes people that they will not be kosher as witness. So one of those is mesachek b'kubiyah, someone that is playing with the dice. Now what does it mean in the Gemara, in the Shulchan Aruch, someone that is playing with the dice? It means someone that is gambling. So it's not specifically a dice, it can be any other way of gambling that according to that Gemara it's not allowed, and someone that is doing that, so is not kosher as a witness. Okay, I'm not getting into all the different sides of gambling now. That's not the question. The question is about just using a dice, not for gambling. So the question is, after it's set up this whole halacha on that name of someone that is playing with the dice, so now it becomes to be something that is very rare to see someone that is religious that will play with the dice, because that's the name of someone that is not kosher as a witness, and all of us want to be kosher witnesses, right? Maybe they will pick you in a wedding to be a witness of the kiddushin, then you say, no, I'm playing with dice, I can't be a witness. No one wants to be there. So again, we're not talking about someone that is really gambling, but it looks like he's playing with the dice, so there is a certain negative angle to that. Now, on top of that, there is a certain way of witchcraft, or you can call it with different names, of using a dice to get messages from other sources. Now, obviously, to communicate with other sources, like those that are doing those things of black magic and witchcraft, right? All kinds of spirits and so on. So we don't do that, and for sure we're not getting from them what we should do in our life. Okay? There is some people that they will claim that they are communicating with all kinds of spiritual beings and souls, spirits, different things, angels, whatever you want to call them, and they're getting all kinds of revelations and information and principles of how to live life from that. That's not Jewish, okay? That's not related with Kabbalah. Some people think that those things are coming from Kabbalah. So we'll speak about it another time. There is a way to communicate with souls of tzaddikim, okay? Right now it's not the subject matter we're dealing with, so I'm not going to get into that. The question is it allowed to use a dice to get information from other source? The answer is no. We don't do that. Okay. So now someone is using the dice without the intention of getting the answer from another source from Hashem. Just he wants to get to be random. So then the question comes up: is there randomness within the creation of Hashem? Did Hashem leave space for randomness to exist within His creation, or everything is planned from ahead? Okay, Akol Yadua, everything is known. So now we're going back to the famous loop of question of how can it be that we have the possibility to choose, and in the other hand, Hashem, He knows everything, right? So the same question will be here. If Hashem knows what will be the result of the dice, so the dice is not random, is according to what Hashem decided, what Hashem knows. Okay? So what does it mean random? It means random for me. I don't know what Hashem knows. I don't know what will be in the dice. So I'm rolling the dice, and whatever will be, that's the desire of Hashem, that's the will of Hashem, that's the decision of Hashem. So it's not random, it's a revelation. Okay, and that's the point that I want to reach to. So there is a concept that we see many times in the Torah. I will mention a few places, that is called Goral. What is Goral? Some people will wrongly translate the word Goral as destiny. Okay, there is a connection there, but that's not the right translation according to the sources of the Torah that I'm speaking about. Let's call it for now lottery. Okay, for example, in the time of Bet HaMikdash, there was a sacrifice of Yom Kippur, that we have 2 goats, and it says one goes to Hashem and one goes to Azazel. Okay, and that's a big subject matter. What does it mean that it goes to Azazel and it doesn't go to Hashem? It sacrifices that Hashem commanded us to sacrifice. So we're doing it for Hashem's sake. But it says that in the Torah, one goes to Hashem, one goes to Azazel. Okay? When we get closer to Yom Kippur, so maybe we'll speak about what does it mean, this sacrifice of the Seir Azazel. That's not my subject right now. But how do they choose between those 2 goats? Yeah. So it says that they did a lottery. They had like few pieces of paper, whatever they used, that they wrote La Hashem and they wrote La Azazel, and whatever comes up that the Kohen Gadol is pulling out of the, I don't know if it was like what was the vessel that they put those things there, but whatever he would pull out, that will be the goat of Hashem, that will be the goat of the La Azazel. Okay, so that's random or it's not random. Another example. It says that the Ktoret, right? We're dealing a lot with the Ktoret in these days because of the coronavirus, as a segula for the coronavirus. But I'm talking about the Ktoret that was served as a sacrifice in Bet HaMikdash in the golden altar. Yeah, the Ktoret, not the prayer, the act of serving the Ktoret. So it says in the Gemara that whoever Kohen that would do the Ktoret in Bet HaMikdash will be rich. It was segula to be rich. So that's why today people are reading the Ktoret to get wealthy, to have segula for parnasa, right? Because that's what we say in the Gemara. The Kohen that will do that will be wealthy. Okay, so obviously we want all the Kohanim to be wealthy, right? We want to have bracha for everybody, not for one person. So they try to have every time a different Kohen that will do the Ktoret. Okay. Now, obviously, there's a high demand, right? Everybody wants to be wealthy, so everybody obviously wanted to be the Kohen that will do the Ktoret. So how do you decide who will be? Right? So the answer is, they did a lottery. They wrote the names of the Kohanim that were there, desiring to do the Ktoret in that day, and whoever the Gabai of the Bet HaMikdash will pull, the name that he will pull out, that will be the Kohen that will do the Ktoret. So again, is that random or is that a revelation? Okay? So, in the Gemara, as far as I know, there's no clear explanation of what is exactly the mechanic, the spiritual mechanic of this lottery, of how does it work. But there is sources in the Kabbalah that it says in the Zohar about the lottery of the Seir Azazel, Seir Hashem that I mentioned before. Yeah, and it's obviously a principle, a foundation for every place that there was a lottery in the Bet HaMikdash, that the lottery rule is to reveal to us what Hashem wants. Okay? It's not to get a random decision, because we understand that there's no randomness. Rather, it is to get the revelation of Hashem's desire, what Hashem wants. Now, if that's so simple, so maybe that's what we should do all day long. I want to have coffee or tea. Let's see what Hashem wants me to do. And I roll a dice or make a lottery and for every little thing. Yeah, what we're going to do today, where we're going to go, what should be my career, so on and so forth. Let everything run by a lottery. If that's a way to reveal Hashem's desire, great. What's the point? What's the problem? Why we don't do that? Because you have to be in a very high level that it will be that you will merit a revelation. Okay? In Bet HaMikdash, those Kohanim that were doing those lottery, they were in a very, very high spiritual level. So they deserved to have this revelation. It's not something that we can just say, I'll just roll a dice and Hashem will tell me what I should do today. No. Even about like which verse of pasuk of Tehillim I should say. Even that. No. That's not a way to get information of what Hashem wants. Okay? There is exceptions. Okay, there is exceptions, and there's a whole I'm not sure how to describe it. Let's call it a niche within the Kabbalah books that is called Goralot. All kinds of ways of doing something that is similar to that, but without using a dice. Usually to use Tanakh and choosing like a verse from the Tanakh and to get a revelation out of that verse that comes up. Okay? So, and there is many ways with it. There is like the Goral Agra, the Goral Achitofel, there's many Goralot, and soon I'm going to tell you a very relevant, up-to-date story about a rabbi in the States that he got the coronavirus and he did a Goral of Baal Shem Tov. According to Baal Shem Tov, there's also a tradition of how to do Goral to understand like what is the cure, what is the reason, how, like what should we do to get on with our life. But I will leave it for another couple of minutes. Just to finish that mark. When is it allowed to use those techniques of Goralot? Okay? Rab Chaim Vital, the main student of Arizal, he have a whole book that is called Sefer HaGoralot. A very, very fascinating book. I never did any of those. Okay? So, I'm not saying that it's not allowed, but according to my tradition, it's something that should be kept for very severe emergency. Okay? Like we have today with this coronavirus. So that will be a reason to do Goral, to understand like what's going on, what Hashem wants from us. That's a reason. Okay? And I'll give you another example. There was a case of a Jewish community in Europe before the World War II that the rabbi there, he understood that like something is about to happen, but he was not sure what will be safer for the community, to try to move or to stay in one place. Like what is a like higher risk? So he did some kind of Goral. I'm not sure which one of the different Goralot he chose, but he did some kind of Goral, and this community moved to the States and they were saved because they moved. And the way that the rabbi took the decision of moving or not moving was by doing a Goral. Okay? So a rabbi that is in charge of a whole community, a whole city, and there's a danger for the whole community, okay, so that's a reason to use a Goral. There's something that is severe. It's like there's a life threat that the decision here can be like making life or death of many people. So for something like that, we use Goral. But for things that are, just I want to know, like what should I do with my life? So okay, so you can ask a rabbi. You don't have to do Goral for that. Anyhow, if we got so far, so I'll tell you the story with what I heard. So there's a rabbi that I'm not related. I know him, he knows me. He comes here once a month, Rabbi Kuti El-Fish, that is very famous in his Gimatriot and Rashi Tevot. He have like he wrote many books about it. Anyhow, he's known in the world for those things. So in Motzei Shabbat, this last Motzei Shabbat, he got a phone call from the United States. I think that he got a phone call, maybe he called, whatever, of the Dinover Rebbe, one of the big Hasidic Rebbes that unfortunately is sick with the coronavirus. And the Dinover Rebbe told him, I did Goral, and I want to tell you what was the result of the Goral Baal Hashem Tov that I did for knowing what is the reason of the coronavirus. Okay, so I want to tell you what was the result. So I'm reading you now the pasuk that came out in the Goral Baal Hashem Tov, thank you very much, to the Dinover Rebbe. Okay, the pasuk is, it's coming from Tehillim, chapter Ayin Chet 78, the first pasuk. Okay, Maskil le'asaf, האזינה עמי תורתי, הטו אזניכם לאמרי פי, הבטחה במשל פי, אביע חידות מיני קדם. Okay, that's the pasuk. I will give the literal translation of that, what comes to the simple understanding of it. Just say a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהכל נהיה בדברו. So Maskil Asaf is simply a prayer that Asaf, that was one of the Leviim in the Bet HaMikdash, seems that he wrote it. Okay, so we have a few chapters of Tehillim, even though we say that all of the Tehillim was done by David HaMelech, but we have a few Tehillim that we say that was by Shlomo HaMelech, that was by Moshe Rabbeinu, one was by Adam HaRishon. So that's one of the exceptions, that even though it's in the book of Tehillim, but probably it was picked by by David HaMelech to put in his book. Anyhow, so this is a prayer of Asaf that was one of the Levi. Listen, Azina ami Torati, listen my nation to my Torah. Hatu aznechem leimrei pi, put your ear for what I'm saying from my mouth. Eftecha b'mashal pi, I will open my mouth with a parable. Abia chidot minei kedem, and I will tell you riddles from the older time, the ancient times. Okay, this pasuk is very, very fascinating. Okay, you can learn about this pasuk many commentaries, and it is very, very deep. You can go many different angles with this pasuk. Okay, so now how do you get the message of this pasuk? Yeah. So the Dinover Rebbe, he did the Goral. That was the pasuk that came out. Okay, we give he's one of the leaders of the Jewish people. I don't know him personally, but I'm sure that he's a big righteous person. So we judge him favorably that probably he is in the level that he is getting a right message. Okay, when someone like that, a leader of a big community that is considered to be a righteous person, is doing a Goral, we say probably there is something to it. Okay, if someone that is like he doesn't know anything would do a Goral and will come to me with a pasuk, so it's very nice, but that's leave it for the big guys. So he's one of the big guys. He's one of the, I don't know, like I'm not giving like scores to the different rabbis, the different tzaddikim. I'm not like part of that team, so I can't put them one next to another. But he's one of the giants of that Am Yisrael had. So that's what came up with this pasuk. Now, how do you get the message again? Yeah, you have the pasuk. How do you understand what Hashem wants to tell us from that? So to read about the commentaries, that's one way. Okay, and I'm sure they did it. Rab Yekuti Fish, that his niche is, like I said, Gimatriot, Rashei Tevot, Sofei Tevot, is called Torah Remez. He's a master of Torah Remez. So he took the Rashei Tevot of Abia Chidot Minei Kedem, which is the end of the pasuk. Yeah? And that four last words, so the Rashi Tevot, as I said, Aleph, Chet, Mem, Kuf, if you switch the order of the letters, it comes out Kimcha. Kimcha. What is Kimcha? It's like a buzzword. You have to know. Kimcha de Pischa. Right? Now, we have the Pesach, and we have an old custom of giving money to poor people to buy food. In the old time, it used to be to buy the flour to make matzah, because people used to make their own matzah. So that's Kimcha de Pischa, like the flour for Pesach, flour for the matzot of Pesach, that they will have matzot, what to eat. Today, Baruch Hashem, people have more money and they have less patience, unfortunately. So instead of like baking our own matzot, usually we buy them. So Kimcha de Pischa became to be a custom of giving charity, extra charity, giving food for Pesach, okay, for poor people, and that's something that is going on in these days, something that is very, very up to date. So now, if you take the end letters, of that pasuk, is the gematria, the Sofei Tevot of Mitah. Okay, the Sofei Tevot of Mitah. So Rabbi Kutil Fish, he gave his understanding that what was the message of Hashem to the din of a Rebbe is to tell him that there is a problem of mitah, that people are dying. Mitah it means death. That's the end letters of the pasuk. And what is the solution? Is the Rashi Tevot, is the Kimcha, meaning by giving extra charity now, those days, for Kimcha de Pischa, in this way, we are removing death. Okay? And this is something that is very, very true, obviously. Even without this pasuk, we know we have a clear statement, clear pasuk, that it says, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. If you give charity, save you from death. Okay? What's the logic there? Because your money is called your blood, damim. In the language of Chazal, money is called damim. Blood, dam, is the same thing, right? So it means that we're putting our strength, we're putting our time to make a living. So whatever it is that we have, we put our blood into it. So if we're giving it, so it's instead of giving our blood. Yeah, that's very, very basic. Now, here is saying that even more than the regular. Not only that we have the general concept of tzedakah tatil mimavet, that's generally always, but here we have a special case of the coronavirus is like very, very exception, right? I think that they say that last 100 years there was no something in that level, maybe even more. 100 years ago we didn't have this communication, so we didn't know like what exactly is going on. Today everybody knows about everything. Everybody knows the numbers of the whole world. But anyhow, that's not the point. The point is not to compare between this plague and other plagues. The point is that definitely there's a big need for solutions in the world. Okay, so that's one of the solutions. That's definitely. And also Rav Chaim Kanievsky said about it that tzedakah tatzil mimavet applies also to the coronavirus. Okay. So giving charity now is the time, right? Now is the time, and Bezrat Hashem, I hope that it will give some inspiration for whoever needs that to go out of your way and to do whatever it is that you can do to give the poor people that they will have what to eat. Generally, it's good, and especially now, especially for Pesach. Bezrat Hashem, everybody will be healthy, and Hashem will reveal to us His will, not only about how to solve the problem, but mainly about why the problem came to begin with. That's what I'm interested in. Bezrat Hashem, maybe someone like the Rebbe needs to do another goral to know what stands behind it, and not only the solution for the future. Bezrat Hashem. But that will be another video. That will be another class, Bezrat Hashem. Thank you very much. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen.